Gladly. Okay. Lord, thank you for bringing us all to this place at this time, and bless our efforts. Bless the Cherokee people. Bless the health of our people, and help us to be wise in the decisions we make. Help us to always be guided by your words. In your name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Shelley, can you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Harley Buzzard. Here. Keith Austin.
Here.
Joe Bird. Julia Coates. Here. Sean Crittenden. Joe Deere.
Aye.
Mike Dobbins.
Here.
Hayden Duncan.
Bonnie.
Rachel Horton. Daryl Legg.
Here.
Wes Snowfire. Laura Peskowski. Here. Mary Baker Shaw.
Ani.
E.O. Smith.
Here.
Denise Taylor. Here. Victoria Vesquez. We have one.
All right, if everybody has had a chance to look over the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of approve the minutes?
Aye.
Against? All right. Let's go into reports. We got Marcia.
Jennifer.
Don't see Marcia.
Jennifer Kirby.
Jennifer Kirby.
Jennifer? Jennifer, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, what do you have for us today?
Well, you have our report. First, I want to ask if there's any questions on our report.
Does anybody have any questions on Human Services report? Well, I don't have a question, but I have a comment. Thank you the other night. I know it was a late call. Saturday night, I believe, about 8 o'clock. I called Marcia and you and about a...
All together now.
I also learned this song today.
They put you on hold.
My little trick.
Jennifer, what are you doing? Turn your boombox down.
Are any of you guys virtually using your work phones, your desk phones? Can you hear me? No. There we go.
All right. Who was that? Sharon.
I guess Sharon. They called it out.
Sharon's to blame.
Martha taught me a few tricks, so I was trying that out on you guys.
Well, but what I was saying, thank you. Called you guys at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night for a 90-year-old elderly couple whose AC went out, and you did a good job getting it the next day. And I know it's late notice, and I hated calling you that late, but thank you so much for your help.
Sure, yeah. I'll let the staff know as well.
Yeah, that was an awesome job. All right, if nobody has any questions, Ms. Taylor.
The big question is, when are the elder checks going to be going out?
Right now, presuming that the timeline for processing and looking over those entries, we're letting the staff know, or letting the elders know mid to late September. I don't know if Chief of Staff is in the room, but he might have a little bit more information on that.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer. Eddie calls out Sharon, and then Jennifer calls me out.
Marcia did teach her a few tricks.
Yeah. So similar to what we've processed with the students, even though we extended the deadline for the students, and I'm trying to remember what the original deadline was. I think it was August 7th. We extended it out to August 28th. We went ahead and downloaded and started processing as much information as we possibly can. We'll do that with the elders. So I've already gone in on the back end of the system, told it to allow applications through the 11th. But on Saturday morning, I will download our list so we can start processing and verifying the information.
The concern is for the elders who are requesting a paper check that, and I don't know if there's any way to do this, but their concern is it being stolen from their mailbox. If they have an idea when to look for it, they may be more apt to check their mail. And I know there's thousands of them, but that's the point that's been brought out to me.
So far, I think we had, I'd have to go back and look, but I think we've had about 17,000 elders sign up so far. And we're going to have to process them a little bit differently because so many of our elders are not comfortable with technology or don't have access to technology. And so we have a lot of people that are helping them. And we can't process electronically like we did just simply because we're using the email account. And we have people that are assisting those elders and supplying their own email account. So we can either look at a pay card or a check process. Most likely the check process will be the most logical for us to pursue. But we'll be working on the final details of how we're going to make that payment. I'm trying to think of how we can notify them in advance, maybe send them a letter and say we'll process it within the next 5 to 7 days, be expecting it then, and try and give them a heads up.
Which brings me to another question. If they choose a pay card, really either option, will it be obvious that it's from the Cherokee Nation?
Most of our envelope stocks has the Cherokee Nation seal located on it with a return address, but we can see if we can come up with a creative way to do some standardized envelopes that don't have the Cherokee Nation logo on it.
No, I think that would be a good thing. What I'm thinking about is I understand some of the stimulus money that went out was on a pay card, and it, if you did not know better, could look like a credit card solicitation or something like that. And so that's my concern.
Yeah, with our normal processing, we would send it in a Cherokee Nation envelope.
Okay. Typically, our citizens, if it's from Cherokee Nation, they tend to trust it rather than just credit card services or something like that. Okay, thank you.
You good?
Thanks, Jennifer.
Mary?
Yes, I just wanted to follow up. Did you say that the deadline has been extended?
Yes,
To what?
September the 11th. We provided 2 additional weeks. So we estimated that we had somewhere between 70 and 75,000 elders eligible based on the age criteria. And like I said, we've only had about 17,000 sign up so far. So we'll go ahead and start processing effective Friday night, Saturday morning, and analyzing that data and allowing that application period to continue running on.
I would like to suggest that when this is over, if we could perhaps sit down, maybe just a volunteer committee, and make suggestions in the event something like this were to happen again, that could improve. For example, most of the at-large wish that they could have been notified by a letter.
We are in the process of sending out postcards, and I think I've identified about 58,000. In fact, that's where I was while I was a few minutes late. I was visiting with the mailroom and making sure that that list was going to be prepped and ready to go. So we'll have about 58,000 postcards where we're going to notify all those that we have addresses for that haven't signed up.
I think that's wonderful. Will we take the information that we gleaned from this and update our registration, our addresses perhaps in other areas?
Yeah, so we're trying to use that information, so we now have new contact points. Amazingly enough, we had some parents that said, hey, I just signed up 2 weeks ago and I changed my email address and my phone number. So we have people that change pretty frequently, but at least we do have a good contact point for many of these citizens.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Sean?
Yeah. When you say
gonna roll out, I was thinking about my question. The elder check.
Oh, what we're looking at is trying to process as many as we can. We'll do them in batches. So if we have a lot of good matches and we have good information, we'll start processing those sometime in mid-September. Majority of those, just given, especially with utility assistance, we've got to verify proof of income and proof of residence. And that payment will not go out probably till later in the month, towards the end of the month.
Just September.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and,
So for those that just selected the $400 payment only, we'll probably process those and get those out the door first.
and, 400, now 1,200. Now that's gonna go to them as well, right?
I'm gonna look at Jennifer on this one.
So it's going to go to the utility company, and we will spend time getting verification from the citizens on what utility companies they want it to go to. And now we realize that $1,200 to an electric company is a lot. We're hoping to give them up to three options of utilities that they can put it to. That could be gas, water, and electric. So there's more options there for them.
What's that? Now, I understood at first that it would go to them, plus they were still eligible for LIHEAP.
So,
They are still eligible for LIHEAP. That program will continue on because we also have people on LIHEAP that are not Cherokee citizens. So, and we still receive federal funding for LIHEAP. So that program will continue.
Now, Todd, was that a Cherokee Nation decision to not send it, to change it from sending it to them?
let me visit with Jennifer on that and,
I would, and, you got, this is great, I'm not looking to give horse in the mouth, but for my seat right here, I would rather see that 1,200 go to the elder, and, then they get LIHEAP too, and, gas, propane, whatever, and they could use it for a conditioner, another stove, but if that's even still on the table, I liked it how I first heard it.
okay.
Is-
So Jennifer, I'll get with
Anybody
you.
else
We'll talk about it.
Agree with that, or?
I'll say this, man, I've had so many air conditioner issues and elders Chief even went to Lowe's one day and we drove halfway to meet him on a
Oh,
Sunday
yeah,
to pick
they're
up an air
good.
conditioning
Yeah,
unit.
they're good.
And, I don't know, I could always just say, hey, man, you got $1,200 to buy a new unit with. It would help, I don't wanna
Yeah,
mess up a system that's happening right now,
I'm
though.
not griping at all, 'cause I wouldn't even brought it up, but that's how I understood it at first. And if that's still on the table, I'd love to see them get that. And also,
So, on our utilities are something that our elders definitely worry about on a daily basis. And if those utilities can be taken care of, that's more that eases their mind because some of them have very high utility bills, and this could carry them for a long time through the COVID pandemic if we are able to put it towards the utilities and more options, not just an electric bill. And we will still have air conditioners available to LIHEAP participants. We will still have stoves and other things like that.
yeah,
I'll visit with them and we'll see what we can come up with.
there's LIHEAP covers utilities too, right?
Yeah.
And if they're not LIHEAP eligible, it would just be good for these people to get that money and kind of do with it what they will, COVID related, we got to put that down. But my last thing was, I'm thinking, kind of like the vouchers. And I've gotten so many that, Sean, I just got the 400, but I think I would have qualified for 300 more. Now, we'll probably run into that with this, hopefully not, that, Sean, I just qualified for the 400, but
But I'm not heap eligible, can I get that money too?
So,
Game plan for that?
so here's the difference between the student application and the elder. So to Counselor Shaw's point, we learned a little bit. So one of the things I like to point out is these programs are by far the largest programs that we will operate this year, short of contract help. And, you know, because typically we serve 5,000 students with higher ed. We have about 3,800 in clothing vouchers. And we have about 5,000, am I right, about 5,000 in LIHEAP? Is that correct? So these two programs, roughly 75,000 eligible participants in each program. We've got 50,000 applications that we receive with students. We have some duplicates that we're working through. And then elders were at about 17,000. So when we started the student process, we weren't validating their household income. We asked general categories, just kind of like a census question, to say, let us know what your household kind of looks like. But with the elder application, we've built some logic into it. And so depending on your answers, if your state says okay, Oklahoma, Okla, any combination of Oklahoma, then it says, if you live in Oklahoma, then a new question appears and it says, tell me which county in Oklahoma you live in. If they select any one of the 14 counties, then it asks the question, do you wish to apply for utility assistance as well? Because we have some that say, I don't want to apply. I know I make too much money and I don't have any interest in it. If they check that box, then it asks them the very detailed, specific questions of how many people in the household, what's your income for the total household, and then they have the ability to upload that information. I know a lot of them don't have that information on them, and that's where our human services staff will have to call and get that information from those elders. So with the elder application, I think we will eliminate that because based on the answers they've provided, we'll know what their household income is, and it's based on their income guidelines for the program.
I don't want the rear end at all, but Chair, do you mind? I mean, here we all are gathered up, just giving them a little input on, if I'm in the minority, good, but really, this, if they think that the money should go to that elder or the money goes to the utility company. I mean, can we get a feel of that, then they can take it to their discussions? I mean, they know my thoughts.
Conversations.
Yeah. After we've spoke, we can. Let's get more input from everybody and we'll come back.
I was going to say, I did just get a text message, and it's something to consider, and that's one of the reasons why we look at it this way is based on reportable benefits. If they go over a certain dollar threshold, that's why making the payment to the utility company keeps the elder out of hot water as far as benefits for Social Security and disability. So,
I don't have to claim it as income.
yeah. So that's one of the things we will need to look at and evaluate and make sure if we do make the payment directly to them. We don't want to impair the elder by making that payment and pushing them over the edge.
Good point, but you're still on top of that a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Yeah.
But it's a great thing either way you go.
Well, if you could, get that information for us.
Yes, sir. Will.
And just maybe email us on, let us know. So, you know, if it's not a problem, then I think it's a good idea if we can.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Victoria?
Yes. I also have a question, Todd, and it's sort of related to what you just discussed, but more specifically, when I helped people sign up last week in South Coffeyville, and the ones that did not have the utility bill with them, and it gives you the option to skip that part, and then I was told that probably Jennifer's group would send a letter to them to verify that information. Excuse me, how long does that slow down the process?
It will slow them down probably a couple of weeks. It depends a lot on the workload and how many applications we ultimately get that are missing that information. Granted, you know, think about it, if we let's say if we have 17,000 applications and half of them are applying for utility assistance, that's a lot of paperwork for our human services staff to work on and validate. So I would say probably at least a couple of weeks for them to, and depending on the back and forth and how quick the elder is able to respond and provide that additional information.
So currently, the way the system is right now, then someone will notify them by letter or by phone call saying, yes, we're going to pay your bills for a year. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I'm sorry. I have a hard time hearing and I also have a hard time talking with this thing on. So will they receive a letter or a phone call from Cherokee Nation saying, you've qualified?
We'll try with phone call first to try and get information faster. If we're unable to connect with them via phone call, then we will go to a letter-based process.
And what does the letter tell them?
As far as if we need supplemental information, it'll basically say, hey, we received your application. We need to verify additional information, including your proof of income, essentially. For many of them, it's going to be an SSI benefits letter or a VA letter. And then they'll ask them to supply that information and where they could either drop it off, fax it, email it, mail it to,
Okay.
so that
That's what I was trying to get.
Yeah.
I wanted to know each step.
Yep.
So, okay. Thank you.
that,
Thank you.
Keith?
Thank you very much.
Yes, Counselor Critton, tonight, I recall in previous conversations this topic, and I know many of our elders who live in rental subsidized situations, and $1,200 extra would throw them, even the $400 sometimes will throw them into a place where they wouldn't qualify. And as long as it's paid towards a utility, they never have to report it as income, so it will not complicate their life. It'll offset an expense that they would have anyway, let them keep that money, and they'll never have to report it as reportable income. So it will keep them from ever complicating their life when it comes to applying for or qualifying for things.
Right.
And that's a big thing. I mean, our elders who, we have a tremendous number of elders who live in some sort of subsidized rent situation. And that could backfire on them.
Yeah.
It could backfire on them badly. So that was a lot of the thinking, I believe, when that was originally put in place, if my memory's right.
See
Hey,
that?
you want to respond?
I agree with what Keith's saying for those folks. That's a great point. But not all of our elders are in that predicament. So maybe in the discussions, a choice. Do you want it sent to your utility department, which could affect your rent, or you want it sent to you? You know, because I didn't dream this up. I'd heard it different, and I've told a lot of people different. And, you know, I'm not going to get my sucker in the dirt, but I don't want to just die. I don't want to just die here without some more conversations. I agree with Keith, but we got to give some of them credit that they're going to know their rent situation and be able to say, and weigh the options. Thank you.
Yes, sir. EO?
Jennifer, on these people that qualify on the 1,200 and their utilities are cut off, can they use that back to put on the deposit to get their utilities turned back on? Say like water?
Was it going directly to the utility companies? They will use it for whatever amount that they owe or whatever they need to be directed towards. You know, we do this with our light heat participants on a daily basis, and those that come in for emergency services to get their utilities back on. So the utility companies will take it for whatever they owe or whatever they need.
Is there going to be a blanket this year? Light heat blanket?
Yes, we actually are going to next month start sending out letters for our 2020 blanket. We've got those in. They were delayed a little bit because of COVID, but we do have them in hand here, and we'll start sending out letters to our participants on places that they can be picked up.
Great. My observation on this $1,200 is if we give it direct to them, there's gonna be a lot of liquor stores that are happy, and in 3 months from now, they're gonna be broke. And a lot of grandkids that never come around will come around and see them. I just kinda hate to see that money going out in this way. If we give them that $1,200, we know they're gonna make it through the winter. Is my thought on that. Thank you.
Mary?
You're absolutely right.
Todd, is it possible we could find some money to assist our Cherokee citizens who are disabled?
That is one of the things that we are looking at. So with assisting kids who really are dependent upon somebody, and then also looking at our elders who often are dependent upon somebody, and both of those groups need a helping hand. That other group that we feel like needs a helping hand would be those with handicap or disabilities. We are trying to figure out what, easily we could run a report out of our registration database and say, there's 75,000 kids between the ages of 5 and 18. There's 75,000 elders over the age of 62. We don't really have a good tracking system to understand how many of our citizens are disabled and receiving benefits either from Social Security, State of Oklahoma, VA, and I've asked Sharon Swepston and our health team and anybody else, including Diane Kelly with Voc Rehab, of how many people we think might be receiving some level of benefit. And so we're trying to go back and understand how big that program might be and how we might be able to address that. So we're trying to figure out how we can accommodate something like that. So we are looking at it. We're just trying to figure out how big it is and how much money would be need to be set aside to be able to do that.
I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay.
Harley?
Jennifer, on the MIHE program, what percentage do we think that the 62 and older can get the LIHE?
Since you called me out, Jennifer, I'm returning the favor.
Let me,
And the reason I'm saying that is, everybody 62 and older are getting the $400.
let's see, give me 1 second here. I would say a 70%, 72%.
Okay, so we got 70% of LIHE people that are getting LIHE that's going to get the $400 about. Okay, that answers my question. And the $1,200 so you can help them.
And a new Subaru.
Is there anybody else?
I will like to make a comment. Like we have a place in Sallisaw called Village West Apartments. The rent and utilities and everything is all included in one payment. They don't actually go to the city of Sallisaw to make a utility payment. As long as they pay that apartment complex, everything's covered. Or is there a way to differentiate whether or not they can be eligible for anything like that? Maybe put that towards a different expense of theirs? That's directed towards Jennifer. I didn't talk to Todd all day long.
Yeah, there's always a way to figure that out. I imagine those people are probably falling in a low income category. So when they return their information, they can indicate that to us, and we can certainly look into how we can get that payment, or how we can make sure that they get their share, and then that payment gets taken care of. So there's always a way to figure it out.
Okay. I just pay their rent.
And maybe if, as councilman, if we encounter a situation like that, then we can kind of maybe take the lead and just say, hey, this person is in that situation, what can we do? Bring it to your attention.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
Yes.
anybody else?
Hey, Todd, refresh my memory here. What's the source of this funding? Is it COVID money?
Yeah, it's the CRF funding.
Okay.
Often you'll hear it referred to as CARES Act, but officially it's the Coronavirus Relief Fund.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I think it shows really how important these programs are, you know, because in each of these different situations, I've had 11 different people talk today with 11 different questions, but a lot of these are coming from constituents, so you are impacting a lot of people, and you know, there are a lot of questions. You guys are doing a good job. I mean, you really have, and you can see how important it is, you know, because people are reaching out to us, so that tells you how important it is.
Well, I will tell you that much like I wake up and I think about what Mary Baker Shaw said in a meeting, I get up every morning and twitch a little bit because we've created these programs in a matter of days, honestly, and the efforts to try and make sure that we can reach as many citizens as we possibly can, and I want to make sure we do it right and we do it effectively and we do it responsibly, and so there's a lot of work that's got to go on the back end of this, so thank you very much.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you. Chief of Staff, thank you. We're going to move on to Community Services, Roads and Transportation. Michael Lynn, how are you, sir?
Good, sir. Good. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and members of the council. Good afternoon. I know you've got our report, and I'd just like to address a few projects that we've got going. Aside from the individual water and sewer services that we provide, we also got 3 community-wide projects that we're trying to get off the ground and get going. One of them is in Delaware County, we're Water District number 10. Water system leak repairs is one project, and another one is in the town of Locust Grove, the water treatment plant improvement or upgrade in that facility, and also the one in around Salina Public Works as the water system capital improvement plan that we're assisting them with. Also on the transportation side, for as far as road construction goes, we just recently completed the Bell School Road bridges. There was a 1 bridge and 1 box extension that was built, and now we're proceeding on to an overlay. We've got a pre-construction meeting on that project tomorrow afternoon. We've also got the White Oak Road in Craig County that's underway. It's a fairly new project, about 10-15% complete, but they have mobilized and are out there working on that right now. And the Northeast Fort Gibson project around between Muskogee and Cherokee counties is underway. It's scheduled to be complete at the end of September, but they've had some delays as far as utility goes, and also weather and things of that nature. I'm not sure if we're going to make that deadline, but right now it is scheduled to complete at the end of September. We'll have to see how that goes. We've also got the Dwight Mission Road project in Sequoia County, probably 15-25% complete right now. But it is progressing along. Also, we've got the Holbrook Community Center project that is underway. We hope to see some pavement out there in the next week or two, and we're looking forward to getting that job wrapped up. We've got a bid opening scheduled for a project in Mays County, Chimney Rock Road, just outside of Salina, between Locust Grove and Salina. Bid opening on that is October 6th. It's out to bid now. So look forward to getting a good amount of bids on that. Also, last few I want to mention, we are acquiring right-of-way right now on the Hollow Road project in Adair County. Also, setting right-of-way stakes and soon to be acquiring right-of-way on Bud Valley Road in Cherokee County. And then lastly, the transportation staff met with the county engineer, the county engineering staff last week, and also our contract engineers are also looking into a situation that we've got on Oak Ridge Road in Adair County. It's a kind of dangerous situation. There's been an area that has started sliding off the side of the hill due to some major drainage that comes through there. And it's basically down to one lane where school buses are traveling, and we're aware of it, and it's something that is very concerning to us, and we're trying to come up with a solution as quick as we can between everyone. It is a project that we have on our federal system to build, and so we will be addressing it. This situation has occurred since we began the design. It wasn't taken into account in the original design. It's something that's kind of cropped up here recently, but it's something that we're trying to get taken care of and addressed, at least in the short term, until we can come through with a complete fix during the final federal road construction. Last couple things, sir, is we've got 5 transit vans that we just put into service. So you saw a news release on that here recently. We expanded our fleet by 3 vehicles, and actually 3 of the 5 expanded, and 2 were replacement vehicles. And we did have recently a bid out for 6 more vehicles that will be paid for with some Federal Transit Administration CARES Act dollars. We just got those bids back here recently, and we're evaluating those. So, Mr. Chair, that is my report. I'll be glad to answer any questions if anybody has any.
John?
Yeah, Mr. Cherry, he addressed the Oak Ridge situation. Michael, will you update Kanan and I on that? Just sometime early next week, just kind of stay on it, boys, and I appreciate you going above and beyond on that. And you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's a big hole washing off a big, we call it a mountain, but it's a dangerous situation. So appreciate you staying on top of that, Mr. Lynn.
Certainly, thank you. Yes, and we'll keep you posted on it. You and Councilor Duncan as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. Thank you, Michael. It's not only a problem with safety on the road, but as you guys probably know, it's pinching off the water line right there, sliding the hill out, and cutting off water to a bunch of houses there. So you guys have done a great job working with Cherokee Water as well, and just appreciate you.
Thank you.
Harley?
Michael, these 5 vans that you're going to be getting in, or that you're going to be getting in, where will they be placed? Where's the location going to go where they're going to be placed?
I have to get with Andy on that. I'm not exactly. I know some of them went to Caps, some of them went to Pelivan. I think that's the only 2 places that they went. And I need to find out exactly where the others sit once they're received. And it's going to be a while before those are received. We just opened bids on those recently. They've still got to be produced. But the 5 that went out, I'll find that out, Counselor, and get you that information if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. And I know, and probably the other council members here have seen this too. Like, I've noticed cats, because it's visible when I come down the street here to the complex. You always see maybe 8-10 vans sitting out front, and I'm not sure about Pelivan. They got their headquarters in Grove, so I don't see that. So I'm just wondering, I know transportation is probably the thing that's going to be in the future that we're going to need, and I'm not against, we need to get all those we can get, but I'm hoping they're being spread out evenly over the Cherokee Nation. That was my concern.
Certainly, and they are, and we look at the age of the vehicles that we already have, that we have in service. If they've met their useful life, we're doing our best to try to keep up with that, and so that the providers aren't driving out-of-date vehicles with problems or issues that they're having to deal with that's costing a lot of maintenance dollars. So we're trying to keep those in tip-top shape as the new ones come in.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, Michael, we have public comments on road issues. I don't know if you have anything to say or not, but do we have anything as a council? Do we have any questions for Michael as far as any road issues? Harley?
Michael, when are we going to go back and reprioritize the roads? When will that be coming up?
We're in the process of looking at our tip right now and rebalancing the tip. I don't know that as far as funding goes, we don't anticipate any additional funds coming in. We're programmed out already till mid-2020, or 2022, 2023, 4 time frame. So we won't be adding any projects in the near future, or at least in the, with this TIP rebalance we're going through. But I would hope or anticipate in the next few years we would.
And the reason I bring that up is I brought it up about 6 months ago about a road in Delaware County in the Grove area that we had taken off the list here, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. And the commissioners, and I'd like to have it put it back on the, I'm sure it's on the priority, but I don't know where it is as far as the construction. But you take a look at that and make sure it's back on, so that's what we want.
I mean, I'm familiar with that road. I remember the request that came in, and it's just something we'd have to look at, is that how it rates along with everything else. We can just add them on. We have to go through the prioritization process, but when it comes time, certainly it'll be taken a look at.
Okay, and just a comment. You know, it rated high enough before, you know, when we were actually going to do the construction. So I would anticipate that moving up above some of the projects that are lower priority. So anyway, we'll take a look at it. So
Certainly will.
Anybody else? Michael, that's a good detailed report. You're a busy man.
Thank you very much. You guys are great.
All right, let's move on to housing. Gary Cooper.
Good afternoon.
What you got for us, Gary?
The simple of y'all already today. So just a couple of things that I wanted to mention is I think so far we have about 3,600 families that we've helped with some type of rent relief assistance through the CARES Act dollars to help them cover their rent or extend the amount of subsidy that we pay to their landlord on their behalf through the rental assistance program or whatever the case is. And then we also continue to pull people from the rental assistance program to get them on the program, pull them off that waiting list and get them on the program. I was wondering how the college housing would look, and surprisingly, I got the numbers this morning of the applications we got. We have 77 continuing students who turned in paperwork to continue on, and then we have 85 new applications that we've got. So staff is going through and working on those now, and working with those students to see if we can help them this semester.
Good deal. Does anybody have any questions for Gary? I'd just like to say one thing. Appreciate your help last Friday. It was right before quitting time, and you got some guys on another air conditioner. I know everybody's having problems. But I just get it out that same day. I know it's close to closing time. You got some people to deliver it to Delaware County. I just want to say thank you. That people were very, very happy to get it.
Well, you're welcome, and I'll pass that along to my staff. And I mean, I can't take the credit. I've got some staff that work really good, even with, and whenever we had to send some home, we had to tell them they had to go home just because, of their age or whatever. But I have staff who want to be here and want to work, and we appreciate everything that they do, and I'll pass that on along. And anytime you got a problem, we'll try to do our best and get it taken care of.
All right, thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
All right, Commerce Housing Report. We have Shay. How are you, ma'am?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today. So you should have a copy of our report, but there's just a few things I'd like to mention. On the very last page of that report, I believe, we talk about the number of families we served through the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program this year. That program wrapped up officially July 15th, but if you have constituents who still need to file a tax return, we can actually help them year-round. We just stopped advertising VITA services as of July 15th. So if you still have people that need to file, please send them to us. We helped over 1,900 families through July 15th. We don't have an exact number of the amount of refunds received by those families just yet, but hopefully by next month we'll have that information for you. And kind of along that front, the economic stimulus payments, it's kind of hard for the general population, I think, to kind of keep up with all the information that keeps getting rolled out with these payments. But I did want to mention the IRS did just announce that many individuals who are married to a spouse who owed back child support did not receive their economic stimulus payment because of their spouse's delinquent child support. The IRS has made some modifications. Those payments will be made in the coming month or so. If you have constituents that have questions about that, or not even just related to the past due child support, but the economic stimulus payments in general, if you'll send them to us, we'll be more than happy to research, get them the information they need. There's been a lot of information being rolled out. It's hard to keep up with all of it, but we'll be more than happy to help people with that.
Well, good deal. We appreciate that information. I'm sure that'll come in handy for us on occasion. Does anybody have any questions for Shay?
If not, could I mention just one more thing? I just wanted to let you all know that we were just recently notified by the USDA that we received funding from them to provide and help the city of Jay with an access road in their industrial park that will help with economic development and job creation in the town of Jay.
Well, I know what road you're talking about, and I know they appreciate your assistance. Okay, if that's it, thank you, Shay.
All right, thank you.
Old business, none pending. New business. Dora, would you take that?
A resolution adopting revisions to the fiscal year 2021 Indian Housing Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, that needs to go to full council this evening if we could.
Yes, sir. That'll work. Thank you. All right, are there any announcements? I have one short one. It's not really an announcement, it's just a comment. I mean, you're sitting here watching all our department heads and all these programs that we got. I mean, my gosh, they're telling us about how many people they're serving and how they've helped and how much money has been spent. I mean, it's just amazing. And you know, we're not trying to butter you up, but you guys have done a good job of attacking a lot of areas that needed attacked, I guess you'd say. So, but one other thing I'd like to say too, on the other hand, when all this came by, I really felt for you guys because, you know, the people in power were going home knowing that these bad things were coming. Our casinos, you know, were going to be shut down. We're going to be losing this money. That's a difficult thing to live with, to knowing all of these things and carrying that information home with you when nobody else knows. You know, and then trying to turn a negative into a positive, which I think our administration has done a very good job of that. And I can tell you, as a councilman listening to you, you have done a good job too of representing your constituents. So that's all I had to say. One more.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Good job, Rex.
All right. So be it adjourned.
Count on it.